Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast. The Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast is brought to you by the Hare Krishna Project, which is a national initiative in the UK that seeks to share Krishna consciousness with ordinary, everyday people, with anyone who's interested in hearing the philosophy of Srila Prabhupada. This week's episode is episode number 58. We have almost made it to our 60th episode, and we're really excited. I'm really excited to announce our guest this week. Our guest is Love.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Love. It's great to have you on as the guest on this week's podcast. I love the background you've got there. Beautiful photo image of Prabhupada, and you've got some wonderful instruments that can be used in the service of Srila Prabhupada as well. Great background. So Love, let's crack on. Tell us a bit about you and where you're from.
Okay, Hare Krishna to everyone watching. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm Love, and I'm from London, and I have been in this body for 26 years. And I used to do journalism, and now I just live my life completely guided and strive to be a complete, clear channel for the voice of God.
Wow. So you worked in journalism. You are a journalist. How would you describe that?
Yeah, so it was always my dream to be on the editorial team of a magazine, like a luxury fashion magazine. And I worked straight out of school. I never studied, like I didn't revise at all. Kids, if you're watching this, don't listen, revise. But yeah, I just wasn't a studier. I was always a practical learner. So and writing was always a big thing for me. I would write so many stories and poems and songs and write in my diary all the time. And yeah, it just felt very natural, and it served its purpose. But yeah, I was writing for fashion magazines, luxury lifestyle magazines, food and drink, all this material stuff.
Yeah, my sister-in-law is works for a fashion magazine in the Middle East. I haven't got a clue what the name of the magazine is because I've never asked her. But yeah, fascinating. A background in journalism and writing. I love writing too. High end and stuff. That's great. So where are you from, Love? Are you from somewhere in the UK?
Yeah, I'm from London, from North London.
From North London, a great place to
Yeah.
be from. And you're now sitting, as we're recording this, you're now sitting in a Hare Krishna temple. When I say how did you get there, I don't mean literally like which bus or which tube, but how did you get to be sitting in a Hare Krishna temple? I mean, how did you go from journalism? I mean, were you raised as a Hare Krishna devotee, or did that journey happen in another way?
No, it's been a long journey to get here, and you asked how it happened, and quite simply, God. Quite simply, I chose to surrender, and that has been my intention for the last couple of years. And I asked God for help and guidance, and so every little step that I've made has led me towards here. Even things that I didn't understand, like one time I got this job as a receptionist in the NHS, West London. So this job had nothing to do with my skills, gifts, abilities, and it was nowhere near my home. But it just so happened that I met Dhananjaya Prabhu, one of the devotees here at Bliss, for the second time after leaving work and being in West London. So Krishna arranges. But I wasn't raised as a devotee. I was going to say I wish, but I don't wish, because I think my journey's been perfect for me.
So when you mention, or when you talk about you were kind of searching for God or striving for God, at some point you've also revealed your age, you know, at 26. Did that searching for God happen as a teenager or as a child or in your 20s? And, you know, did you wake up one day and think, right, is there more to life? You know, how did it all happen?
Yeah, I think it first started learning about environmental issues. It, you know, it was like little things here and there, but when I left school and when I was working a full-time job, I started to notice things. And then the lockdown happened, and at that time, during that summer, there was the murder of George Floyd, and there was the Black Lives Matter uprising. And for the first time, I was engaging with it. For the first time, I was actually paying attention. And so my journey, my heart-opening journey towards God, really started with these kind of issues like global warming, and then the injustice, and then like all these little things started to come into my awareness. And yeah, I just felt more and more dissatisfied and out of place, I guess. And life kept on leading me to spiritual books or mantras, or, you know, like it'll get me in little ways to be interested in what else. And I remember being at my job. That was my dream job. It was on my bucket list to be in the editorial department of a magazine. And I was there, and I was like, this surely can't be it. This, you know, this is I've achieved what I wanted. So why am I not fulfilled? And at that point, I thought, well, I've never been to uni. I've never lived away from home. Why not take all this money that I've made? It's just sitting there. I'm just using it to go out and have fun and whatnot. Why not use it to kind of break out of this box that I'm in and see what else is out there for me?
Mm. So, so the kind of the murder of George Floyd was, I think, 2021, I think, wasn't it? So 2 years ago. 3 years ago. So I mean, I kind of certainly recognize what you're saying. I took an interest when I started to take an interest in spiritual issues in my teens. I feel more politically aware as well. I was more conscious of the world happening around me other than me and my life. And what I was doing on a day-to-day basis is that I was starting to become interested in kind of political, social issues, social justice, social welfare, but also higher spiritual things as well. I mean, in terms of your, I don't know, your upbringing, your background, did you have a particular religious upbringing? You know, did your parents inspire you to seek God in your life?
No, not in the slightest. I was brought up in a Jewish family, but it was just a cultural thing. It was about the food, and you know, we would say the prayers, but no one would explain what they actually meant. No one explained what is God. No one explained anything. It was just about learning the stories and kind of, in my experience, not asking questions. And so I wouldn't call it, my experience of it was not a religion, because if religion is to teach you how to love God, there was zero of that in my experience.
Yeah.
I must say, in my experience. Should I close this door? Is the sound really bothersome?
No, I can't hear anything outside the door. Is there something happening
good.
there? Like someone's there with a chainsaw or something?
Well, my trio Prabhu is preparing for the Sunday feast. I think he's making something.
Well, there's a dog barking, is there? No.
No, just like the sound of a machine going. Anyway, if it's not bothering you.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people from different religious traditions will do something because they've just always done it. It's a cultural thing. And you'll even meet people in the Gaudiya Vaishnav tradition that, oh, we just go to the temple because we always have done. You know, we take part in these ceremonies because we always have done. Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting, really fascinating. So you were working as a receptionist in the NHS, and you met Dhananjaya Prabhu, who is one of the resident monks at the temple that you are staying at in Bromley, in South London, at the Bliss Temple. So he, I'm kind of trying to drag out that first encounter. So he walked into the NHS reception. I mean, would you like a book? Can I use the loo? Or I need some water? I don't know. What was the situation? What happened?
So actually, the first time I met him was in 2022, and it was in Liverpool Street, and I was going from here to there, and he was there with Nityananda Prabhu, and they were handing out books. And it wasn't the first time I'd come across Hare Krishna. I think the first time that I ever kind of had anything to do with it was in lockdown in 2020 or 2021, whenever it was. And my neighbors had 3 books on their, the side of their house. People do that when they give stuff away. And it was the Bhagavad Gita, the Krishna book, and the Laws of Nature. And I took them, and I read the Laws of Nature, and I was like, wow, this is pretty clear. It's just laying out these universal laws in such a strong manner. And I was like, damn, like this is great. And yeah, so when I saw him, I was immediately attracted, by which I mean, there are these 5 reasons we are attracted. It's wealth, beauty, renunciation, strength, wisdom, maybe. I'm really not learned at all, just passionate. And I've always found monks very attractive because they're representing someone that has given up what they're wanting to give up and so committed to a cause. And being someone who has struggled to commit to healthy habits and stuff like this, it's very enticing for me to see someone that is, wearing the tilak, the robes, and is just there on the street bearing his soul, So the first time I met him was in Liverpool Street, and I was really interested. I took a couple of small books, and my main argument was, this is all very well and good, but how can I surrender? I have to make money. I have to do this. So I still wasn't understanding. I was just at the start of this journey to understanding. The more you surrender, the more you looked after this. And so after that, not much to do with Hare Krishna. And then I think at some point I recognized that there was a big temple near my grandparents' place where I was staying in Radlett. And so I found myself at the Watford temple. But before that, another devotee came knocking on my door and gave me some more books. So it's like slowly but surely, it was coming to me. And when I went to the Watford temple the first time, I remember walking into the temple room and just bursting out crying. It was like some deep relief. And I even feel it now, like when I'm speaking about it, that finally I could just be. Finally, I I was home in a way. I've also had this experience walking into a church. This is like the house of God. So it was so powerful, and I really just cried a lot. And I ended up chatting to this devotee there called Cyrus, and we ended up taking prasadam together and talking for about 3 hours. And he also read my aura, which was very interesting. And I just asked loads of questions about the philosophy. And I pretty much was hooked from there. And I kept coming back. And I even applied for an administrative job at the Watford Temple. I didn't take it in the end. It wasn't right for me. But the head teacher at the school gave me these beads. So then I started to chant. So slowly but surely I was getting very attached to it. And then by the time I was already chanting like as many rounds as I could per day, maybe I was doing 5 or 6 max, I was coming out of my job as a receptionist in the NHS on the street, and I saw Dhananjaya, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is great, look, I got my beads. And he pointed out two other devotees, Maitreya and Dora, and we took the train together, and I was so impressed by these two young people who were, you know, young, healthy, beautiful, radiant, and excited, and so knowledgeable. And when I was talking with them, I felt like they were just seeing me as a soul, and not as my body, not as someone, you know, less than, or you know, anything like this. I just felt really like on a level. It was wonderful. And yeah, after that, I shortly came to a love feast. Or I think first I joined them for Harinam. And then, you know, pretty much now I would say I'm a part-time visitor. So I come and I stay some days during the week, and more and more and more, and just getting more and more involved. And yeah, it's amazing. I'm so happy to be here. Honestly, it's like the biggest relief, you know, to just stop with the charade, stop with the just nonsense. Like, you know, I've been away from the temple and hanging out with people that I love, but, you know, just talking about just stuff that doesn't matter. So much negativity. And then to come here and just be in this spiritual environment, it's like another world. It's absolutely amazing.
So I find your story very encouraging and fascinating. Tell me, so what is it about Krishna consciousness that appeals to you? The philosophy of bhakti. What is it that does it for you?
So everything that I was learning before coming to Krishna consciousness, I was learning about, you know, I knew that there was God, but I didn't know what that was. I would just sense it. I would sense it during meditation. I did all stuff like energy healing. I did a Vipassana course. I was quite big on Vipassana for a while, the Buddhist teachings. I would, you know, astrology, numerology, just looking into the material stuff and getting the spiritual dimension from that. And it was all, you know, it was about manifesting and the law of attraction. I read the Kabbalion, so I was learning about the basic universal laws, and, you know, how to kind of manifest from source, or the universe, as I would call it. And I realized that the more I would try and manifest, the more miserable I would get, because inevitably stuff doesn't happen, or it does happen and then, you know, it's still unfulfilling, or, you know, just I always knew that my path was unconventional, and trying to do it alone, trying to make it happen alone, just was not working. You know, there's not really a clear path if you want to be a famous musician, or if you want to give talks all over the world, or if you want to be a communicator or a creative channel for God. There's no rule book for that. So what attracted me about Krishna consciousness is learning about the personality of God. When God is just in the Brahman, the universal, or like the space between the words, if God is the sentence, the words, and the space between the words, when it's just impersonal, you can just get away with whatever you want. So I would be doing things. I have no regrets now, because, as I said, every single step on my journey has been either, you know, positive, or it's been a learning experience, which is still positive. You know, I would just be like, oh, I'll just, you know, eat this oyster because my intuition is telling me that my body needs the vitamins, or whatnot. Or, you know, I'll just carry on, I'll just smoke more and more ganja because my intuition is telling me. And I still kind of wonder about this, because I would have, for example, gone to smoke and then met someone who taught me this and led me on to something else. So it's a bit of a confusing one for me. I'm not sure about it yet. But yeah, it's the accountability and the rules and regulations and the personal aspect that really is enticing. And I remember the first time, oh yeah, and also if the focus is on bhakti, which is devotion, then it takes the pressure off me trying to be anything or succeed in any way. It takes the pressure off, and suddenly it's just like, oh, my eternal way of being is to be in service to God. And I knew that. I knew it. So now I can just do it. And I don't have to worry about trying to fit into this world, which is just awful the way that things are going. Why would I try and fit myself in? I want to try and help to bring along a new way of being. So it just fit in very well. And also what attracts me is the results. It works. The chanting works as a meditation to purify the personality defects, is very effective. And it's aligning with something that is extremely high, and I've never found anything higher. Everything else that I experimented was a gateway towards this.
I can feel your enthusiasm. It's very infectious. It's great to hear your enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness, because you know, that was one of the things that attracted me to Krishna consciousness all those years ago, was that Vaishnavism, Bhakti Yoga taught me who God is. You know, I've always believed in God. And my background's kind of in Christianity. I was quite involved with a church for a long time before I joined the Krishna conscious movement. And you learn about God, to some extent impersonalist. But, you know, when you want to find out what God looks like, or more about the personality of God, you don't really know much. There isn't really much to be learned. You know, I think the Bible refers to things like the face of God or the hand of God, but actually you don't know what the face or the hand look like. And actually then you start reading the Vedas, read the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, other Vedic literature, books of Srila Prabhupada, books of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur, and back on and so forth. You learn so much about Krishna as a person. That Krishna is, because the word, see, the issue, or the concern with the use of the word God. God is a position. God is the manager. God is it's a role that somebody is performing. Someone is performing the role or the position of God. And we discover through Krishna consciousness that someone is Krishna. Krishna is performing the role of God. Because God sounds a bit impersonal, isn't it? You know, so I agree with you, actually, 100%. And certainly your comments about how, you know, I think you're looking for a community, looking for a group of people to be with, because yes, we can go off in an impersonalist sense, and we can smoke this and we can drink that, and we can hang out with those people thinking, well, oh, God's everywhere, God's everything, so everything's fine. And in one sense, Krishna can use those experiences to guide us towards him, or pull us, entice us towards him. But ultimately, we need the guidance. Guidance is a key word. We need the guidance of other devotees, of senior devotees, of pure devotees, like the one sitting behind you there, Srila Prabhupada, picture of Prabhupada, to guide us, to help us get out of this miserable material existence, and to go home back to Godhead. So absolutely love it. So you're now at the Bliss Temple. The Bliss Temple is a beautiful Hare Krishna temple in Bromley, which is southeast London. I was there at Gaurapanima. Anyone listening or watching is not sure what Gaurapanima is. Gaurapanima, it's like New Year's Day in the Hare Krishna movement. It's a celebratory day to celebrate the appearance, we might not use the word birth, the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is recognized as an avatar, not incarnation, we don't use that word, an avatar of Lord Krishna himself, Radha and Krishna 500 years ago, to come and teach love of God, share love of God, experience love of God, and popularize the chanting of this Hare Krishna mantra. So love is at this wonderful temple in South London. So yes, I went off on a tangent. I was there at Gaurapanima. We were celebrating the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So you tell us a bit about, so it's run by an organization called Bliss, which is the Bhaktivedanta Lives in Science Society. Tell us a bit about the temple, and what happens there, and what do you do when you're there?
Okay. The the temple is like on cloud nine, somehow somehow existent on or within the Earth's atmosphere, but with a complete, as I see it, you know, like a column of light connected to the heavenly planes. Absolutely. It's a place, it's a home, a temple where anyone can come and learn about the spiritual dimension of life and learn practically how to be their best selves, how to get rid of personality defects, how to get rid of addictions. You know, it's all here, and it's open to all. So this is what the temple is. If you're willing to be a bit humble, be a bit meek, and learn and engage, then you'll benefit so much. You know, we're really told, I'm taught that if we work very hard and work very hard, you know, it's something that even we don't want to do, we'll succeed. But this never brings fulfillment. It never brings fulfillment. Actually, I heard that one of my family members, who's extremely wealthy, I heard through another family member that he was sitting on his boat, you know, in the beautiful sea, having a wonderful time. I was thinking the same thing. Why am I not fulfilled? There must be more. Is this it? So this is something that we're all considering. And if you haven't considered it yet, it just means you're so deep in the illusion, you still think that it's fulfilling. But anyway, the temple, is a place for anyone to come who wants to escape and learn about the reality of life, what we're here to do. So when I'm here, I engage as much as possible. I wake up with everyone and enjoy the chanting and the program. At first, it was a bit difficult. Now it's amazing and I love it. And I also am using my natural skills to be of service. So creating music and creating videos to preach, essentially, and also make events. Just anything that I can possibly think of. Purajit Prabhu is an amazing facilitator. How he holds everyone and you know, sees that someone is good at this, and he's so encouraging but also strong. You know, if something's not right, he'll say. So yeah, he's like really holding everything together very nicely.
And I've seen some of the videos that you're referring to. When we broadcast this podcast, I'll put a link to the Bliss Facebook page and website, and the films that you've been producing to promote the temple, to promote Krishna consciousness are very good. So I was only having a conversation with Maitreya. So anyone who's listening who doesn't know who Maitreya is a very active devotee in the Bliss community. I was having a conversation with 3 weeks ago, just glorifying how wonderful the social media activities were. Because I kind of work in social media myself. I wouldn't claim I'm an expert, but I know how to promote stuff, and saying, oh, it's great what you're doing, and you know, to the, you know, they'll upload a film of a Harinam at 5 p.m. one day, and by 8 o'clock the next morning it's had 50,000 views. And that's quite phenomenal. There are businesses out there that would jump at the chance to have that many views and likes and shares in such a short period of time. So that's how they were doing 3 months ago. Now that you're on board, helping with video creation, I mean, I think after we've done this, I'm going to have to look at the views and see how see, because that's quite phenomenal. And yeah, some of the films you're producing. So one film I've just literally watched before we met online to do this is that you're having be a monk for a day, or a monk something. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so we're organizing something called the Live Like a Monk Day Retreat. And basically, I was inspired because we have so many regulars who tune into the daily live stream classes, mornings starting at about 8:15 and evenings at 6:30. And those people join. When I came And I was joining online every morning, every evening for a couple of weeks before I first came and stayed at the temple. And when I first came and stayed, I was shocked, genuinely shocked at how much they do before the morning live stream. Like from 4:30, it's go, go, go. And then the live stream at 8:30. So I was inspired to welcome all the people who joined the live stream to take it one step further, because it's good to push ourselves, you know, take the next step and join online for the whole day or in person. Anyone's welcome to join in person if you're local. And yeah, there's nothing particularly different that we're doing, a few different things on the schedule, but essentially the phone will be set up like this. And it'll start at 4:15 and we'll just do a quick introduction. Everyone say hello, Hare Krishna online. And then we'll start our daily schedule exactly the way that it is, but we will keep the live stream on. It will be on Zoom, so everyone must sign up via our website. And yeah, it's just the chance for people who are interested to come and learn, to be held for a whole day. It's very easy to forget and stop being associated after the live stream ends. So don't stop. Just for one day, tune in for the whole day and see how much you benefit, see how your attachment grows stronger. So for the whole day, we'll be streaming all the activities. There's also a couple of things on the schedule that we don't usually do, like a walking meditation time with His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So I will be sending links to his lectures, and the attendees will choose one and then go on a walk, you know, wherever they live, and have that time hearing him. And also there'll be reading time, and there's also one special feature, which is a Q&A with Purijit Prabhu, because lots of people are asking questions in the live stream classes that are not related to the class, but because it's only a short time, they can really only answer such questions. So this is the time for anyone to ask any questions that they have about the movement from a really committed devotee. There'll also be time for people to make their own prasadam. Everyone who joins must get our ebook, How to Offer Food to Krishna. So there's no chance, unless they do so off their own will, to break association for the whole day. The whole point is just to invite people to come in and take it one step further and really engage.
It sounds very good. I have to admit I didn't realize it was online. I thought it was in person. So I'm even more fascinated by it now, is that you can do it from the comfort. Don't often use that word in Krishna consciousness, the comfort of your own home. Yeah. And so when is the next one or the first one happening? This day retreat, online day retreat?
Yeah, so it's on Friday, the 9th of June. And as I said, you can join in person. We'll be most happy to welcome you. You can even stay over. And you can also join online. So when you book, you'll receive a booklet, a PDF with the whole schedule, all the contact details, all the lyrics, so you can follow along. And we keep you engaged every moment of the day.
That's fascinating.
Yeah,
It's wonderful. And the Bliss community is growing, isn't it? I mean, literally, not every month, but on a regular basis, the Bliss community, in terms of the residents of the temple, is growing, isn't it?
It seems as so, yeah. Yeah, very nice.
I mean, you're pretty much living there, even though you're not there all the time. And I saw also on social media recently, there's another new lady who's recently moved in. There was a fundraising campaign to cover her travel expenses from, I think, the United States. And the next minute I see she's in London. So obviously it worked.
Yeah, it worked so well. That is Mataji Red Willow, and she's amazing and expert gardener. And she's come here and just brought such a serene and intelligent energy, and also so much practical service as well, really making the garden so nice and abundant.
So you've got a real enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness. I can kind of see that. I can feel that through the digital airwaves. And I've on terms of your own social media activity, it's really encouraging, I think is the best way to put it. This wasn't one of the questions I sent you, but I think it's a good one. How can we attract more people? How can we attract more Western people in particular to Krishna consciousness? What can we do?
Well, I think the main thing is to be an example. The main thing is to be an example. And I think that it's good for me to be making videos because I think I'm also a bit accessible. You know, as I said in one of my most recent posts, I am so not perfect. I am so imperfect. You know, I don't claim to be. I want to be. I'm trying to be, but I'm also 98% rascal. And I think that what we can do is make it relevant to the Westerners, and just be there consistently and keep holding the spiritual space, make it easy for them. And yeah, just, you know, just to be out in the world, walking down the street and chanting, you know, it's so important. You know, the other day I was just in Camden and I had some time before a gig, so I've sat somewhere along the canal with my new cartels, and I was just singing and playing them. You know, at this point I don't care if people are looking at me weirdly. Just being there as I am is infecting their vibration. So stuff like Harinam is so beneficial, because even if they don't acknowledge it or engage with it, they're benefiting. So I think holding the space, keeping going, and most important, being an example. So when I first started wearing tilak and chanting, wearing the beads and stuff, some family members were very put off, and I was preaching too much, and it just wasn't right. It wasn't really meshing well. But now, having continued more, they're asking open questions, and I'm answering them very nicely. So they're accepting more. So if everyone just takes to this path, then it will attract more and more people. And you know, to kind of explain that it's that you're not giving anything up that's real. You know, so their turn off might be that you change so much and you'll stop hanging out with your friends and you'll stop being fun. And I get it, you know. But there's a wonderful quote at the start of A Course in Miracles, which is a channel text by Jesus. And the opening quote goes, "Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God." So it's okay to let go of the job that doesn't serve you. It's okay to let go of the habits that don't serve you. It's okay to let go of the friends that you don't feel good around, because once you take that step towards spiritual life, towards God, towards truth, He takes a million steps towards you and will guide you and give you everything you need. And it's really about helping people, especially Westerners, get out of this scarcity mindset that, we're, over here, we're just so separated from God. We're so separated. We think, I'm generalizing, we think that, we have to just make it all happen. And, what I discovered is that I'm a child of the universe. I'm a child, I'm of God. So why not just let myself be held and, choose this other path. And look at me, I'm healthy, I'm happy, I'm out in the world, I've got everything I need. So being an example that it's practical to live a spiritual life, to live like a modern day nun, that is the most important thing, is to show people that it's possible. I also believe in being compassionate and non-judgmental, and acknowledging my own imperfections in the hope that it encourages others to even take one step and just keep the conversation going, because otherwise we can't have a conversation. It's the same with talking about race. It's okay to look like a fool and ask. It's better to ask and have the conversation and then learn, rather than be so scared not to even say anything. So I'm all about communication.
And someone who's worked in journalism, you must be a great communicator.
I don't know. You tell me.
Well, you're very well. You're very well spoken. You're very well spoken, which always helps. I had a question then, and then you mentioned about race, which reminded me of something else, but it's gone. Yeah, I was thinking about when I became. I mean, I've been around the Christian. I've mentioned that already. I've been a vegetarian for maybe 15 years, and when I finally gave up eating meat, and I became a vegetarian, one of the first things that my friends asked me was, "What are you going to eat now?" I said, well, there's lots of things I can eat. There's lots of plant-based stuff and potatoes and salad and beans. There's lots of things that haven't come from animals. And I kind of thought of that when you just mentioned about how people have seen you've given up these things, but you haven't, you're still you're still, nothing kind of extremes happened. And when I joined the movement, my parents, my family, I hope saw a positive change in me. To be honest, I never really asked them. I was quite nervous about telling my parents that I joined the Hare Krishnas, because from my background, it's very kind of, very white working class from Somerset. People don't have gurus. All this Indian stuff or stuff that appears Indian, it's just not something we do from our background. Your kind of non-conformist Methodist Christian or Church of England or nothing. So it was a bit of a learning curve, but I think my family have accepted it now. I actually mentioned my stepfather, who's a devout atheist. I actually mentioned him in my book because he's a massive, which he jokes about, because he's a massive fan of George Harrison. And it was him that was playing My Sweet Lord around the house 22 years ago that actually planted those seeds in my head. we do joke about that. Okay. And what are your plans now for the future? Do you, because I mean, I don't need to know your private living arrangements elsewhere, but do you have a plan on moving into the temple full time or something like that?
No, I don't make plans. I mean, I make plans like maybe to see a friend or to, go to this country in the next couple of weeks, but I want I want to live a completely guided life, because when I'm guided, I don't have to worry about anything. There's no anxiety. I just go where I need to go and I say what I need to say. This is such a wonderful quote by Jesus, and I'm completely paraphrasing. Please don't hate me. But his disciples are saying something like, "So you're sending us to this place. What should we say? How should we preach?" And he said, "I'll tell you when you get there." I love this one so much. So I don't really plan a lot. I just wake up every day and I surrender. I scan my body and I surrender each body part. Dear God, what would you have me think? What would you have me see? What would you have me notice? What would you have me hear? What would you have me listen to? What would you have me type? What would you have me eat, drink? What would you have me wear? I surrender my legs. Where would you have me go? So in this way, life is a really grand adventure, and I just have absolute faith. So my plan is to keep going in this manner because it works. I've tried this way and I've tried other ways. I've tried just trying to manifest my dreams and law of attraction and all this stuff, and it's miserable. It's absolutely miserable, because you're trying to be God. You're trying to make things happen and you don't know if that's in your highest good. I might say, "Oh dear God, like please make this 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 song that I've made reach so many people." So what if it reaches so many people and then they all hate it, and then I'm getting hate mail and I'm getting death threats, So better just surrender and go on God's plan for my life. So my plan is to continue to follow my intuition and to purify as much as I can, and to let the path of my life unfold in each moment with no resistance or opposition from my end. That's my plan.
It sounds very inspiring, and I love that you're an example of someone who just really is surrendering or trying to surrender as much as possible. Because I mean, when I get up in the morning, I don't necessarily, my thought process is all of, what have I got to do today? This, that, I've got post-it notes here, there. I need to chant my rounds. I need to go and need, it's a relative term. I need to go and earn some money. I don't need to, but I do. That's the lifestyle that I've chosen to kind of to follow, to go down. So I wish I was a bit more kind of submissive, like you. Submissive. I surrender more like you. Just kind of, I'm offering my physical body to you, Lord Krishna. What do you want me to do with it? I'm trying as much as possible to see Krishna in every situation, even things that feel bad aren't really bad, because Krishna is in everything. The Bhagavad Gita tells us that not even a blade of grass moves without Krishna's say so. Everything is the will of the Lord, or happens under the say so of the Lord. That's not easy to accept, because we're conditioned by Maya, by the think that these are my books, this is my bookshelf, this is my plant, this is my smart looking jacket. All these things they're not really mine. None of it really belongs to me. I'm just an eternal spiritual being experiencing this right now in this physical world. But actually, everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is the owner of anything, everything. One of Krishna's names is Nath. So ironically, my birth name is Nathan, which is also a Jewish name, but we're not. Actually, I'll tell you that. I'm going off on a tangent now. But my mum, we're not Jewish in that way. But my mum gave me the name Nathan because there was this guy on TV she liked in the early 80s. And, that's a nice name. I'll go with that. So Nath in Sanskrit, we hear the name Nathji. Nath in Sanskrit means the owner. It's one of Krishna's names. It means the owner. So Krishna is the owner of the universe. And quoting the Bible now, one of my favorite verses is, I think it's in the book of Romans, where it says, if the Lord is for you, who can be against you? In other words, if God is on your side, who can be against you? Nobody, because nobody's more powerful than God. So we have to just surrender and accept, no matter how difficult or uncomfortable a situation may be, Krishna, God, is in everything.
This is a very nice way of thinking, and this is the greatest affirmation, because then it makes it true. Of course, it is true, and when you believe it, then so it is. That's your experience. So then something like, being like missing a train, and you're going to be late for something, it just doesn't matter anymore. Whereas someone else might get all worked up because this, that, and the other. I just don't care, because I completely trust in every step. If I'm playing my cards right and I'm doing the right things, then everything is for the highest good. So this is a much, much nicer way of being. People will like look at us and think that we're crazy and we're not doing anything, and like we're just not doing anything. It's mainly this. What do you do? Like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? But we're engaging in the true purpose of life, and everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves that peace and happiness, and to break free. Yeah, I love that quote that you said from the Bible. This is so nice, and this is so important as well, because I have had many visions. Now, if it comes true, if it's meant to be, then so it is. That's Krishna's will. I don't mind either way. But I have had many visions of having a large influence, like being quite well known. And if that happens, then if I'm not connected to Krishna, I am effed, basically, because that is going to become very very difficult to navigate. But look at what Srila Prabhupada did coming here, and his letter that he wrote on the boat. I'm but a puppet on your strings, or make me dance. He was completely empowered. So then anything becomes possible at his age, doing just unbelievable. So when one is empowered, anything is possible. So this is, I like this quote a lot.
Wow. Okay, well, believe it or not, love, we've been chatting for almost an hour. And which has been fantastic. It's been really good to chat with you this week on the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast. And thank you for giving up your time, your valuable time, I loved when we were arranging this and you said, I'm free between this time and this time. Very precise, you know, because you're doing valuable seva service at the temple. So I think now I'll just say goodbye to the viewers at home, and then we can have a bit of a debrief after. So, Love, it's been great to have you as the guest on the podcast this week, the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast. And I hope people listening, watching will visit the Bliss Temple. It's a beautiful temple. I shall be visiting again soon again next week. I've got an engagement there. That'll be revealed more on social media over the next couple of weeks, what I'm doing there. So if you're watching this on Facebook or on YouTube, please do like it. On Facebook, you can care for it, and you can you like, love, or care for it, the 3 positive emojis. Hopefully you're not angry about it that much. Please do also put a positive comment either on YouTube or on Facebook. And please do share this link with your friends and your family and your networks and your groups and all the pages you're part of. And until next week, we've got some more interesting guests coming up over the next couple of weeks, which I shall reveal more about over the next few days here on the Hare Krishna Project page. If you like the work of the Hare Krishna Project, please do keep sharing our posts on a regular basis. And we'll see you all next week. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.